Hey, welcome back to Crimes and Closets. This is Beth in my closet in North Carolina.
This is Christy in my closet slash basement in St. Louis.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Happy last Monday.
I know. Happy 5 years.
Happy 5 years to you. Cheers.
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 Yes,
Happy
we are
cheek.
drinking the wine. So if you see
We
us
are.
pouring more glasses, making noise, you know what? Get over it. This is it. We're doing it right now.
Yes. We are in celebratory grief. If that makes any sense.
Who celebrates grief?
Well, we're
you know what? We should
celebrating, but we're
normalize
also
celebrating grief.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have been so emotional all day. I've been texting Christy, like, last episode. I'm excited
Mm-hmm.
to do this episode, this very long, lengthy episode. God bless your hearts for tuning in. But I'm so sad. It's so bittersweet. It's literally bittersweet. I've never understood that word more than I do right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah, because I'm like, yay, the stress is gone. We don't
Yeah.
have to like make sure we get time to do this, but also like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah. It's our last happy Monday.
Yeah, it
No, that's
is.
not true. Every Monday we'll be happy. We will always be in your ears as long as you tune into us. You can go back. I know there's a lot of new listeners. We've had a lot of people say that they're new listeners and they're like, "Oh shoot,
Mm-hmm.
I just found you and now you're leaving." Well, you have how many episodes? 250 episodes
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
binge, and we may release. You
Yeah,
never know.
occasionally. You never
You
know.
never know. We got some Patreons in the pocket and
Mm-hmm.
some cases in our ears that you just never know. So
Yeah,
hopefully your Mondays are all happy.
I know. You know what I was just thinking, by the way, because this just happened. Somebody, like, I think did a flip upstairs. And so I heard the bang and I just made a face and I'm like, you're going to experience what it's like when we're recording and you don't see us on video. Oh, wait, am I recording video right now?
Are you?
I don't know.
No. We intended to record video. Stay tuned.
Yes,
So
we
if
are.
you
We're
watched,
recording
okay,
video.
so we're
Um,
on Spotify, on
yes.
video, and on YouTube on video.
Yeah.
So, and it was really fun. People tuned into the video last week with our
Yes.
husbands
Hmm.
and loved that.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. It's very sweet.
No, it is cool. But I mean,
Yeah.
what I was just about to say, well, what I was saying was like, I just rolled my eyes at Beth because normally when we're not recording video and like somebody makes a loud noise, like in the background, I'm like, "Ugh, I know you
Yeah.
just heard that, but
Yeah.
so you're going to
But
see
I
all the things. This is going to be like unedited,
literally
all the things. So anyway,
love that. So what was decided is that we would do high profile cases.
Mhm.
So Chrissy and I each picked a high profile case that we wanted to do.
Mhm.
We're going to start with those.
Yes.
And then we did a poll
Mhm.
and 2 cases won by landslides.
Mhm. Yep.
So we'll do those at the end. So maybe should we just tell everyone what we're doing? Stay tuned. I am doing Karen Reed.
I am going to
Christy.
do the Menendez brothers
Yes. And then we have the Idaho murders.
and Casey Anthony.
Ugh. I can't believe you guys voted on her, by the way.
She was so very upset.
I was so upset.
I mean, I'm not like overly thrilled because I'm just over her, but I'm like, I was fine with it. Like, I actually, it's probably a good one for me to get personally.
Yeah.
So it'll be fine. But yeah,
I agree
was
with
still
that.
like, really?
We
We really
actually-
want to still talk about her?
we both got great cases
Yeah.
for us, I feel like, as far as what are in the know.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot about the Idaho murders. I
Right.
listened to a whole entire podcast about it and was very invested and have followed it day one. Karen Reed, I have a friend who is super invested,
Mhm.
and you love the Menendez.
I don't love the Menendez, but I just have
Well, no,
been
no one
very
loves them, but-
intrigued by the like stuff in the news right now and been really
Yeah.
following that, like in terms of when it happened. I mean, yes, I followed it, but like not to the extent that I am following what is going on right now. So,
Yeah. And I haven't. Fun
right.
fact.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Cool.
so, I mean, I know a little bit because of
Hmm.
CrimeCon,
Right.
which we can talk about when we talk about that episode, but or talk about that case. But yeah, I don't know much about what's happening lately.
Yeah. So, needless to say, this is going to be an extremely long episode,
Yes, it will.
and we will probably go off on a million tangents. So, if you are not one of our true fans, then you probably don't want to listen to it because you're just going to complain.
Well, true. And we considered making it 2 episodes,
Oh, yeah.
but then we were like, well, what the heck? Like the people that love us are going to listen to the end. The end is we are going to save our sweet farewells towards the end, and I know you want to hear them. I know you real listeners want to hear them.
Hmm.
So stay tuned.
Hmm.
In an hour and a half, we will, or something like that.
3 hours from now, who
Etc.
knows, guys? We
Etc.
can't tell you because we're recording and we're not editing. So we have no idea
Yes.
at this point how long it's going to be. Right now, it is 5 minutes, nope, 6 minutes and 21 seconds. So welcome
Yes.
in.
Welcome in. Happy Monday. Okay. Do we want to just jump in?
We might as well.
Want to talk about Karen Reed?
Let's do it.
Okay. First, before I do that, what is your level of knowledge?
Oh, I've followed this one and I've watched
You have.
the
Okay.
episodes and the 2020 state lines, whatever's out there. I have followed it. Yeah.
Okay, you know that there was just a new documentary that was released on HBO Max or Max, whatever.
So I saw that and
Okay.
it was called The First Trial, right? Or The Trial or something.
Well, yeah, the trial of Karen Reed.
Yeah.
Snow in the Body.
Right. Yeah.
Or Body in the Snow or something like that. Okay. So I watched the whole thing. I'll get into it. Okay. So highlight level, early morning hours of January 29th, 2022. A 46-year-old Boston police officer named John O'Keefe was found dead in the snow on the front lawn of his friend's home, the Alberts, who was also a police officer.
This is
Brian
like
Albert.
Boston or something?
Boston police.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. So John was found by his girlfriend of 2 years, Karen Reed. He had 2 black eyes, cuts on his face and to the back of his head, skull fractures, which caused bleeding on the brain, and like scratch and puncture wounds to his right arm.
Okay.
He was missing 1 shoe, and his blood alcohol level was around 0.21. Hello.
That's pretty okay. Sorry.
That's a lot.
I was gonna say that's high based on like when he was found and when he went missing. Right? Not missing, but like well, I don't know. Anyway, go on.
Well, this is when he was found.
Right.
It was
That just seems
0.21.
really
So-
high.
So it probably was higher, if that's what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. His cause of death was determined to have been a combination of blunt force trauma to the head and hypothermia.
Mm-hmm.
And his manner of death was listed as undetermined. Okay. So, Karen, girlfriend, and John met when they were young, but they lost touch after Karen moved abroad after high school. They started dating somewhere around 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. They never lived together. So Karen had her own home. John had his own home. Karen was very accomplished professional. She worked at Fidelity Investments, and she was also an adjunct professor at Bentley, which is a local college. John was a successful police officer in the Boston area, and he actually adopted his sister's 2 young children 9 years before his death, after losing both his sister and her husband
Right.
within like 2 months. So very quickly.
Can I interject something?
You can.
Where exactly is Boston?
Stop.
I just find it fitting that this is your final. one of your final
I
cases.
can't
Go
say
on.
this state, you guys.
It's okay. I'm sorry. I should have said it earlier,
Ma-
but I was like,
Massachusetts.
mhm. Good job. Good job.
Thank
Well
you.
done, Beth.
Boston, Mass.
Yes.
I know I can't do it. It's fine.
Okay.
I never will be able to. I will try for the rest of my life. I'll never be able to say that state. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but I can't do it. Okay. So that's where they lived.
Yes.
So basically, you have this professional lady,
Hmm.
successful Boston single dad, power couple, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
They're great and they're beautiful. Oh my gosh, both of
Yeah.
them.
Uh-huh.
So stinking pretty. It's ridiculous. John's friends and family, they all liked Karen, including the kids. From all accounts, she was accepted into the fold. Like everyone loved her, his friends, his family, whatever. So, according to text messages, on the day that John was found, or the day before, I guess, John was found dead, they had been fighting. And Karen actually left John's house and went to her own home to work from home. So, just for some space.
Hmm.
It was said that it was something about the kids. It's kind of unclear to me, like she was spoiling the kids and he was like, you can't do that. You have to act like a mom if you're going to be involved, whatever, blah, blah. But it was a fight about the kids. But they ended up meeting at a couple of bars that night with some friends. So it was a Friday night. So they parted ways during the day, worked, and then that night they ended up going to a couple bars in the Boston area, and both of them were seen drinking heavily.
Hmm.
Um, heavily. Like I think it was said
Well,
that Karen had like 9 drinks.
I was gonna say if his blood alcohol level was 2.1 when he was found,
Right.
like, yeah, that's high.
And she was drinking vodka soda, which
Hmm.
like hello, and she had like 9
Hmm.
that they could count on the video.
And she's not like
So
a big woman where you're
she's
like,
tiny. She's
yeah.
teeny tiny, like
Hmm.
a buck 10, maybe.
Hmm.
Itty bitty. So after they were leaving one of the bars, they were invited by one of the couples to go to the Alberts house. So the Alberts weren't there at the bars, but they were having a party at their house. And so the couple they were with was like, "Hey, we're going back to their house because they're having a party. You guys should come with us." And so Karen got in her car, drove her and John to the Alberts house. But when they got there, it looked kind of dark and like no one was outside. And so Karen said, which Karen, she doesn't know them very well. These are John's friends,
Hmm.
they're fellow police officers. So she said, why don't you go in and make sure that we're like welcome here? Because, I'm just not really sure. I don't want to go in. And um, can you just help?
Make sure that like they didn't go to sleep and all of a sudden we're rolling up.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's dark.
Hmm.
So John gets out of the car and he goes in and she's like, call me if I can come in or come back out, whatever. And he went in and never came back out. She never saw him again. This is according to Karen.
Hmm.
So she said she waited like 10 minutes or so and he didn't come back. She gets pissed. She's drunk,
Hmm.
like knowingly drunk,
Hmm.
admittedly drunk, drove to these people's house drunk,
Hmm.
she admitted. And he never comes back out. And she's like, oh my God, screw you. I'm leaving.
Hmm.
So she leaves, calls him several times. She texts him several times. She left some messages for him during this time, pretty upset messages, calling him things
Hmm.
outside of his name. Um, and then she goes back to his house where his kids are and goes in and just is like, I'm going to bed. Screw you, buddy. Like, you never came out for me. What's wrong with you? You suck. whatever, blah, blah.
Now, is their house where she would normally, like, do they tend to stay at his house more because he has kids than like
I
hers?
think she probably does tend to stay
Mm-hmm.
at his house more. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I would
Okay.
say that's probably true. But she does have her own home. She could have
Right.
gone home too.
Right.
But she didn't. She went back to his house because she was like, where is he? Why didn't he come back out? I'm going back to your house, whatever. And his
Mm-hmm.
kids were older,
Right.
teenage by this point. So she tries to call him, text him, tries to fall asleep, whatever. Doesn't get a hold of him. So by the time 6 o'clock in the morning rolls around, she's like, where's John? So she gets worried. She gets up. She goes back to the Alberts house where she left him at like 6 o'clock in the morning with two of her friends. When they pull up to the house, she finds John in the yard, covered in snow, dead.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, also, during the previous night or the day before, she busted a taillight on her SUV,
Mm-hmm.
which comes out later. So at first, everyone thinks that this is a hit and run because John was laying, it's not necessarily, and I can post a picture of this, but it's not by the driveway. It's like if you have a square yard and the driveway is on one side, he's laying on the other side.
Okay.
Okay. So it looked like a hit and run almost. And he was missing a shoe, which is kind of an indicator of a hit and run.
Did they ever find it?
They did find the shoe. Yeah, it was by his body. So it kind of looked like he got hit and someone took off and he froze to death, essentially. And he had this blunt force trauma to his head, remember? So multiple people had left the house that night, during the night, after Karen left. And none of them reported seeing John laying in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
They also claim that John never came in the house.
Were there a lot of cars outside their house when they were there?
Yes.
Okay. Well, because I know it was dark, and so I didn't know if there was like, oh, because it was dark and there wasn't really any cars. We just didn't think anybody was home or they were sleeping or whatever.
No, there was like, so the family was having a party. Parents were having a party, and so they had at least one, maybe two couples, and then their son had friends over
Okay.
because it was his birthday.
Okay.
So you're talking maybe up to 10 people were in that house.
Right. Right.
Okay. So the scene was searched right then, at the time. Nothing was really found other than a few broken pieces of a cocktail glass that they think maybe John might have been holding.
Right.
A few hours later, after Karen's arrest and her car was seized, it was searched again with like blowers and rakes, and they found pieces of Karen's taillight near his body. Remember, she had a broken taillight.
Mm-hmm.
So Karen then was arrested and charged with vehicular manslaughter, and she bailed out of jail. Karen claimed that she had full memory of the night and that her taillight was actually broken when she was backing out of John's driveway and bumped his car.
Which there's video of.
There is video of.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Have you seen it?
Yes, that's what I'm like. That's all I'm picturing is I remember the car being like, "Doo-doo," and
it
like is entirely possible.
100% possible. So like she's backing out of John's driveway. His car was in like a far away part, and it does bump it. I mean, you can see it bump up, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I agree.
Right. So she's saying, that's how I broke my taillight.
But how did the pieces get by John then?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
So she's saying that she was framed. She is saying that essentially someone took pieces of her taillight that was already broken and placed it by his body.
Because that wasn't found until the second time that they searched the area.
The second search, hours later.
Right.
So as she was awaiting trial, more evidence began to come to light, text messages, the taillight information. There was just like other things. So in June of 2022, which is few months later, her charges were upcharged from vehicular manslaughter to second-degree murder.
Mm.
And she was rearrested.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So she went on trial June of 2024. And as you know, as everyone knows, this case is highly, intensely high profile and debated. A YouTube guy named Turtle Boy,
Such a weird
sorry, guy,
name.
Turtle Boy, went to bat for Karen and her innocence, and he started the Free Karen movement, which is a huge thing. The Boston area was totally divided. People have actually called this the Boston Civil War.
Well, I hadn't heard that yet, but that's funny.
Oh,
Not funny,
that's
but
how highly debated it is. There's folks on both sides of the coin. They surrounded the courthouse every single day with signs and shirts, and they would scream and chant. It was like a situation. I mean, it still is, which we'll get to. Some of the witnesses and also John's family members were saying that they were actually terrorized by the supporters of Karen. Like it got ugly.
yeah. Like it was too much. It was overkill with like the
So
support
much.
of, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even in the documentary that I watched, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys.
Yeah.
Like, it was like crazy. So the prosecution claimed that Karen hit John with the back of her car because they were fighting and she was mad and she was drunk. And she was drunk.
Right.
And
as was
then
he.
as was he, but she was drunk and she was driving.
Well, she shouldn't have been driving at all.
Well, I'm going to get to that actually.
But he also, like, I mean, I'm not blaming him, but like also as a police officer, why is he also letting her drive? I know he was drunk. They're both drunk.
Agreed.
But
agreed. And so they're mad at each other. They're both drunk. He gets out of the car and she's like, F you, bangs into him, and then fled the scene without knowing that he was going to die. Like unintentionally. She's not trying to kill him, but she like hit him and then left him. Right. So then she later felt bad in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and went back and found him underneath the snow, and he was already dead. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Karen's defense claimed that the case was mishandled from the start. I don't disagree with this. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
So the lead officer on the case, his name was Mike Proctor, was a close friend of the Alberts, and he ended up at the very beginning talking to them off record at the start of the investigation.
Okay.
So, like, no.
Right.
What? No. You don't need to, like, nobody needs to be pulling anybody aside.
Yeah, exactly.
He had also written later some very terrible text messages about Karen.
Oh, I remember this.
Right. They were vulgar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's calling her terrible names, saying he wished she would just kill herself. She wished she would die. Like, very inappropriate text messages for a police officer or any human being, period. Karen's defense also claimed that this officer Proctor, with their help, that she had been framed, like I said. They believe that John did go into the house and that something happened, some altercation of sorts, and he got beat up or injured badly, blunt force trauma to the back of the head, remember, 2 black eyes, and then later was thrown outside into the snow to make it look like someone had hit him and fled.
Right. Okay.
Karen's car was impounded, as I said, and they found footage, which you can find, of Mike Proctor, this officer, and he is hanging around at the back broken taillight of Karen's car. And you can't really see what he's doing, but like he back there.
Mm-hmm.
So could he have possibly been taking pieces of the taillight? And 15 minutes after he got back to the scene, those pieces were found
Right.
in the snow.
And why would, and I know that like they came back and they did like they raked and whatever, but why would they have to rake to find that if it was like
Right.
hit him, leave? It would just be there, like the broken pieces of the glass that he had,
Right.
and whatever.
Right.
You wouldn't need a rake to find it.
Literally 15 minutes.
Right. Yeah. It is very suspicious.
It's so suspicious.
Very suspicious. Yes.
It is. It's
Mhm.
suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Okay, so the Albert's home, which is the home where he was found, the yard that it was never searched. Never. Never ever. Still has not been ever searched. And there was a Google search done by one of the women who was in the home that night, and it was done at 2:27 a.m. and it said, "How long to die in the snow?" So this is 3.5 hours before John was found dead in the snow.
Can I ask, how do they know that it was a Google search done by one of the women in the house?
It was on her phone.
Oh, it was on her phone. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
okay, I didn't realize like what device it was done on.
It was her phone. So now, there have been several opinions that have happened, and you probably can speak better to this than me because you're very tech savvy. But it was like, okay, so say I search something at 2:27, and then I search something else at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I use the same browser. Is it going to say that I searched that at 2:27 because it's the same browser? So this is the argument.
No, because I'm pretty sure your search history would show
there were experts that said both things.
Okay.
So she's saying, I didn't search it until 6 o'clock in the morning until Karen came and found his body and said, "Oh my gosh, how long does it take to die in the snow? Look it up."
So what did she search at 2:27 that she researched?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know that was, it probably was said, but I don't know. But she said yes, I'm on my phone at 2:27 in the morning. That's not what I was searching. I didn't search that until the next morning, until Karen was demanding that I search that. So there's experts on both sides of that.
Okay.
Take it for what you want.
How can there be experts on both sides? It's tech. Like, there should be a definitive answer.
It depends on the search engine and the phone type, and you'll have to listen to the trial. There's a whole thing. I did. I listened to it. It's above my pay grade.
Okay, so can't they determine based on her phone type and the search engine she had?
They basically can't. I mean, there's arguments on both sides.
Okay, that's infuriating to me.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you might have an opinion on it. That's what I'm saying. But like, there are arguments on both sides when it comes to the legal arguments.
Okay.
Okay. So the homeowner. Oh, also the search history was deleted, which that bothers me too. So like,
who deletes search history besides my 70-something-year-old mother?
Guilty
she deletes everything.
Guilty people.
Well, yeah. I'm like, she deletes text messages. She deletes everything because she doesn't want it. Like,
does.
She does.
She deletes friends on Instagram all the time. And she's like, I'm tired of you. I'm done. It's fine. Okay. So that happened, which is that's incriminating, right? Okay,
yeah, it is.
It is. Okay. So, but not the homeowners. That wasn't the homeowners that searched that. It was just a person who was there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the homeowner, this is speaking just about him, who is a police officer, Boston police officer. So he's a coworker of John. He, in the days after the death, destroyed his phone and the SIM card and threw them away in a dumpster on a military base.
Also, who does that? Because I don't just say, "Oh, shoot, I don't want this phone anymore. Let me destroy it. Destroy
and break
the SIM card."
He said he specifically broke the SIM card.
Like, you only break the SIM card if you're like hiding from the cartel or like the FBI. Like,
Or the FBI. Ding, 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 ding,
this
ding.
is who you're breaking your SIM card for. Like, I mean,
And
you don't do this.
in court, they ask him about this.
Also, there's not that many phones that have SIM cards anymore. Sorry. I know this is
Wait, does my phone not have a SIM card?
I have an eSIM card. I don't have a SIM card. Like, it's not a SIM card that I can pull out and break anymore.
I want to know.
Well, I could tell you, but we don't have to discuss that now.
I want to know if my phone has a SIM card. I want to feel like I can delete things. I don't know.
You want to pull it out, like put that little pin in, pull it out, and break it and throw it away.
I swear to God, I thought mine had one.
I mean, they're called eSIM cards, I think, or whatever, because they're like, there's not a physical SIM card anymore.
What? I had no idea. Okay, well, anyway, his did, and this
burner phone. That's why. I'm just kidding.
2022.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably a little bit before that.
But so he broke it and threw it away, and not just in his trash can, in a trash can in a military base.
Yeah, why?
Miles away from his. And they asked him about this in trial, and you know what he said? Well, I have a right to do that. I have a right to get a new phone.
Yeah, you do. But that's not the typical response in how you get rid of things. Normally, you actually would take your SIM card and move it to your new phone to make it easier.
Honey. Or the iCloud. What was on your phone, Mr. Albert?
Yeah, I don't like these people.
Okay. So it's speculated that possibly John confronted a person in the home because it was uncovered that Karen had been exchanging flirty text messages with another police officer whose also name was Brian. Not Brian Albert, Brian Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the home at the time. And in the weeks leading up to John's death, they had been texting up to 50 texts of like...
A day?
No, total.
Or just...
Up to 50 texts total in the weeks before John's death. That was basically like, well, I think you're cute. Oh, really? Why do you think I'm cute? They were flirty.
Oh my gosh, they were in middle school. Okay.
Yes, they were. They were PG texts from what I saw, but inappropriate. So, like, no one has said this, but I'm like, maybe John confronted this guy about that.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. And he's in the home and they're drunk and it's 1:00 in the morning. And maybe that was like a catalyst to a physical altercation.
Or
what?
Did they pull up to the house, saw that guy's car there, confronted her in the car, got into an argument, left, and she backed into him and walked away?
It's also possible.
There is also out there.
And the possibility of her backing into his ass is 100 accidentally or on purpose.
Or on purpose, either way.
Is 100% there. Broken taillights in the snow. It's possible.
I think there's we're not even there yet, but I think there's more like crazy, suspicious things on other ends that have like literally nothing to do with her doing anything.
It's so much.
Yeah.
This case is so much. I told you this. I'm like, this case is crazy. Okay, so maybe that happened. There was a confrontation, blah, blah. There's also the series, which you can get into if you want to get into it. There's a bunch of butt dials that night. 2:30 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning. Someone's butt dialing, someone's calling someone and it's lasting for 20 seconds and then they're calling back and it's lasting for 30 seconds and then someone else calls someone and they all claim it's butt dials. Ridiculous. No one butt dials somebody and then they butt dial them back multiple times. That's not possible. Okay?
That's missed callback.
That's someone butt dials you.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe one butt dial and then you called it back.
Not 4. Not 4 to 5. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It's such a series of butt dials that I can't even deal with them. They were communicating
Mhm.
in the middle of the night
Yeah. For some
after,
reason.
for some reason, yes.
Mhm.
And then there's this dog theory. I don't know if you've heard about this. Apparently, the Alberts, the homeowners, had a very large German Shepherd, known to be aggressive, especially towards strangers. It was thought that maybe he attacked John because remember he had those scratch and puncture
Oh,
wounds on his
uh-huh.
right arm, and something led to that. Like that hurt him, and he fell and bumped his head, and they threw him outside. Blah blah blah. I don't give much like weight to that because no canine DNA was found on him.
Right.
They
Yeah.
tested for
Okay.
it, and it was so it's just like weird. But I will say that the dog was rehomed within like months because of aggressive behavior. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
weird. So I think that's why people put weight
Mhm.
in that
Mhm.
theory, but I just don't. So at the same time that Karen's trial was happening, a federal investigation was opened to the investigation of local law enforcement in their handling of John's death. So a federal investigation was opened into like Boston PD, which is weird. That's pretty rare
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
odd. 6 days deliberation, jury came back hung. Mistrial was declared. So we don't know.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I'm very torn on this one, and I have been even watching any documentary and stuff on it because I'm like, there's so much stuff going on over here.
In the Boston PD.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is so shady.
So shady. And they're years and years known for being shady.
Right. And I haven't seen like or heard anything that's like, yeah, Karen's malicious. She would have totally killed him over this. Like I just don't.
True. Everyone loved her.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
and if her car hit him, I would say it would have been an accident. Like when she didn't think he was coming back and she was leaving and he like came out the door and she didn't know and she backed into him.
If you hit somebody, you would know.
Well, yes, if I'm sober,
No, even if you're not. Come
maybe
on.
I think I hit the freaking gate or something. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else around her
No,
besides.
nothing.
Okay. Well then, yeah. Maybe. Maybe.
You would know
Probably.
you would know. If I pissed you off
Well, is there
and you
his
hit
is
me
his
with your car, you
DNA or
would know.
anything? Is there anything on her car that proves she hit a person?
Other than a broken taillight, no.
Right.
But
And so
a
she would
broken
have had to hit
taillight.
him pretty hard to break her taillight because if I went like this to a taillight and
Mm-hmm.
bumped into it, if I ran into my car full force,
Well,
I
she
would
hit him
not
enough to
break my.
kill him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I don't know that I put much into that because if I ran full force into the back of my car, I would not break my taillight.
Well, also, and here's the other
And
thing,
so
is
she would
his
have had to
only
ram him.
and his only trauma was to the back of his head.
Right. So what
So
was he
she didn't
doing?
hit him.
Bending
She didn't.
down?
Right. She didn't hit him on the back of his head. She hit him and maybe he fell and hit the back of his head.
But on what? Was there like a
The
rock
lawn.
there?
No. It was lawn. It's very strange.
Again.
It's very
Like,
strange. I'm telling you, it's very strange. And so her trial starts April 1st. So literally tomorrow.
yeah.
When
Yeah.
this episode comes
Literally. April
out.
Fools, everyone.
I know, such a joke. So I agree with you that, but here's the thing. If people are covering this up, okay, let's say he went into the house. There are 10 people in the house. Okay? At least that we know of. So those 10 people plus the lead investigator plus at least one or two crime scene investigators all have to be in on this cover up of what actually happened.
Boys and Blue stick together.
It's the blue wall. They do say that. The blue wall. But that's a lot of people. And a lot of
Well,
these people testified in court.
they stick together. And I
But
am
these
from a cop family, so you guys do not come for me. My dad was a police officer. I am for the blue, but only for the non-corrupt blue. But I will say they stay together and they literally will, and they will not break. Because if one
Okay.
person breaks, then everybody goes down, and then they will be the snitch.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it here
I
first,
mean,
guys.
I'm just saying. Just saying, it's not like unheard of for it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I want you to watch the documentary. It's on HBO or Max. It's called The Trial of Karen Reed, A Body in the Snow.
When did it come out? Because I feel like everything you said
Really
I've
recent,
heard
this year, I think.
before. Oh, then I may have watched it.
She is it's from her perspective.
Okay. Okay.
So it's going through the trial process from her perspective. Okay.
Okay.
I don't love her. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
She's a cutie. So like there are points in the trial where they get on her because she's joking with her family and turning around and laughing and joking with her attorney, and they're like, that's not a good look, Karen.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? And she says, because I'm not guilty.
No.
I can do what I want. And I'm like, ew.
Yeah, that's
Like,
not cool.
I don't love her.
That doesn't make her
I
guilty.
don't think she's guilty. No,
Right.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's saying that she's guilty. I just think that she doesn't do herself any favors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
well, there's so many people out there that do that.
Right. So, anyway, wild case.
It is. It is. It's very fascinating, that one.
It is. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I think is going to happen? I think the justice system is going to play out. And we're going to know when it does, because we don't have all the evidence. We don't have all the information. We only have what came out in the first trial. Clearly, they have more to retry her.
Do we have
They have to have more evidence in order to retry her.
Yeah, there's got to be something else.
Has to be something else.
Do we have... Well, actually, no, not on a hung jury. You don't have to have something else because it wasn't...
True.
She wasn't acquitted. So they just have to...
You would think if they were
you would want
again.
to. You would want to have something else to bolster your case, right? Is that the right word? Or like solidify your case. Do we have the findings from the FBI's investigation into the Boston PD? So open. There's that too. I don't have that.
Oh, but the guy, Mike Proctor, the investigator,
sketchy guy.
The lead officer who has a relationship with the Alberts family, the homeowners, he got fired. They fired him for misconduct. Mostly because of those text messages he was sending. Because remember, he sent those text messages. They were awful.
Yeah, and in the trial, like, he literally was like, yeah, I should have done that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. So they fired him. Like, literally a couple weeks ago, earlier in March this year. They fired him. So.
Good on them, but they had to do something because they couldn't just sit around and, like, know that happened and not do anything. But
well, yeah, but I mean, my God, it took this long.
Well, because now it's out and in the public.
Well, no, her trial was in June of last year.
Yeah.
This all came out in June of last year, and they just fired him in
I'm sure there's
March.
A process. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know what happened to this guy. Here's what I know. He was awesome. Freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Super good guy. His sister died. A couple months later, his brother-in-law died, so his niece and nephew were left without parents. He adopted them, raised them for 9 years until his death. Like a boss. He was a good son. He was a good cop from everything that I understand. He was really good to the women in his life, including Karen.
Yep.
and he's lost in this story. No one talks about John O'Keefe. They talk about Karen Reed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
So, to his family and his kids that he adopted and raised, rest in peace. He seemed awesome. We hope you get justice, whatever that looks like.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
And stay tuned. Because
I know. Stay tuned. I mean, now we have to do an update on the Karen Reed case.
no. BRB.
Be right back. Oh, gosh. Well,
Told you that was going to be a big, long case.
There you have it, people.
Karen Reed, 45 minutes.
We did one. We did a big one.
It's a whole episode right there.
We did the damn thing.
You guys have asked us for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. People have asked for it. Oh. Anyway, people have also asked for, what's her name? Doesn't matter. Beauty star. 6-year-old.
Beauty star? Oh, John Bonet.
Yeah. Which we never touched.
No.
Anyway.
No, we know her dad and we love her dad.
No. We saw him on stage at CrimeCon.
He's our friend.
BFFs.
Our friend in our head.
BFFs. Along with Payne Lindsay. Okay.
Yes. Well, now we did talk to him.
Anyway. All right. Are we good?
We're good.
Okay.
That's a wrap.
Okay. Well.
Menendez.
Give it to me. The Menendez brothers.
Give it to me.
Okay. So y'all probably know the Menendez brothers story, but I shall give you a quick synopsis of it. We're going back to the 80s. Well, just barely. It's almost the 90s. August 20th, actually, 1989. Do you remember where you were? Do you know where you were? I don't know. I was 11.
I was 8. I was in 3rd grade.
I was riding my bike down the street because
Hell
school was about to start.
Wait,
in a couple weeks.
What was our favorite song in 1989?
Oh, Lord have mercy. I don't know, but Jose was probably producing it.
I had good slap bracelets.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Lyle and Eric Menendez. They are brothers. Lyle is 21 at the time. Eric is 18. And they have their parents, Jose and Kitty. Mm-hmm. Jose is an entertainment executive. So that's hence why I said he was probably producing our favorite songs at the time.
Yes, it was Janet Jackson, Miss You Much, by the way.
In 89, really?
Mm-hmm. I miss you much.
That could be like the only song.
It's the top song in 1989.
Okay, I can see that.
Freaking love Janet.
No, I love Janet too. I went to Janet Jackson concert like 2 years ago.
Same.
Okay, so they lived in Beverly Hills, and on August 20th, 1989, they were both found shot in the heads. Well, shot in their beds, really, with a shotgun. Their sons found them, and they said they were killed by intruders, basically. Call 911, my parents are dead, blah, blah, blah. The pair were arrested, though, in March of 1990. So, what, 6, 8, 9 months later, essentially?
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I realized there was that big of a gap.
Well, yeah, because remember they went on their, like, shopping spree, and everybody was like, why are they not mourning? Why are they buying all this stuff? So there was, like, this time frame in which...
And then didn't one of them model or something in the middle of it, or whatever?
I don't even know. I didn't dive that deep into it. The two were set to inherit $14 million.
Yes. Okay.
That was their estate. So they went on a shopping spree. They bought a bunch of stuff. So basically that was it. Like, hey, the brothers killed their parents clearly because they wanted their money now. They had financial gain. So the defense, though, would say that they did it in self-defense after years of sexual abuse, if you remember all of this correctly. So they had a trial in 1993, and they each had it was the same trial, but they each had their own jury, which I feel like, I don't know how many times that's happened in the past.
Yeah.
Because I feel like then they just separate the trials.
Yeah, with separate juries.
It was two juries, but
Why
it was the
would
same
they
trial.
have to...
So they were in the courtroom together, but there was two juries, one to convict him and one to convict him, the other one.
It's weird.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how often that's happened. Okay, so anyways, that started in 1993, so 3 years after they're arrested. 1994, the juries both deadlocked, and it was a mistrial for both of them. So then the next trial, which I don't know when it started, but it ended in 1996. So a couple years later, the judge banned most of the sexual abuse evidence. So that's likely what ended in a mistrial. The reason why it ended in a mistrial, because people were like, well, they were sexually abused, and they were like, didn't know what's going on.
But they banned that, though.
So that's what I'm saying. They banned that in that second trial. So it's like, why did they ban that? I don't know why they banned it.
Maybe no evidence of it.
Well, it is possible. So after that second trial that ended in 1996, they were both convicted of first-degree murder. They were given 2 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole, and they were sent to separate prisons. So 1996 was the last time they had seen each other, the brothers.
Wow, okay, yeah.
In 1999, Eric married Tammy.
Yeah.
A pen pal that he had.
Yeah.
And then in 2003, Lyle married Rebecca, which I don't know. I'm assuming she must have been a pen pal, but I don't know. It was like specifically stated pen pal for Tammy.
Yeah.
It was just stated Rebecca for the other one.
That's amazing to me.
Okay. We could have a whole freaking episode on that. On like,
Tammy, Rebecca,
guys, why? Can just explain. Like, I'm not judging. Just
explain. Exactly.
Please explain, because there has never been a point in my life in which I'm like, I am going to write this inmate. Well, no, that's a lie. Doing this.
What?
Doing this podcast. I'm like, I would write an inmate.
To marry them?
But they didn't write them to marry them, possibly. Possibly.
No,
you found don't know that.
Dating site. Well, I don't know that.
We don't know that. That's what I'm saying. Like, anyway, this was the only reason that I would have ever said, I'm going to write an inmate and like reach out to them and ask them a question.
And you only did it one time in 5 years.
Right. 5 years. But even then it would be like, I have this question. You answer, you don't answer. Okay. Maybe it goes back and forth for a little bit just because I need more clarification for something, but I just don't know that I would ever even get to the point where I'd be friends with this person. No. But again, it hasn't happened to me, so I don't know.
Right. No judgment.
No judgment, but I would like to know. Well, anyways, in 2024...
what is the thing they say? We're only listening and not judging.
We're only listening, not judging.
We're only listening, not judging.
Yes.
So tell us.
Tell us. Please tell us. Please tell us. Well, in 2024, Rebecca did state that they have been separated for a while, and that I don't think that I think that they're getting divorced. But that was just in 2024. I mean, they were almost married 20 years. Nope, they were married 20 years, actually, because they got married in 2003, the same year I got married.
And this is
2024.
Not Lyle, the older one.
No, Lyle is the older one.
Lyle?
So, yes.
Okay.
Lyle, yes, Lyle's the older one.
Okay.
You with me? You here?
Yeah, I just have something to say about him later.
Well, you can say it now, or no?
Well, so he called in during CrimeCon.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So when we were at CrimeCon, there was a session in which Lyle, during a live session conference, called in from prison and did an interview. And you can listen to it. Have you listened to it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, we weren't there. We missed that session. I forget. I think we were with John Walsh. We were doing something
Because I
else.
think I
It was like,
intended to go to it. Like it was on one of like I had circled it to
well, we
go
had to
to.
pick between one or the other.
Right, but John Walsh was like more
I think
important.
it was John Walsh that we went to instead or something. I'm pretty sure it was John Walsh. Which why they would schedule two great sessions like that at the same time is ridiculous because we would have went to both. But anyway, and we were at the bar later, and people were like, Lyle Menendez called in, and he was talking on the, like on this conference call and answering live questions and all this stuff from prison, and we were like, dang it. Christy especially was like, shoot, I love this case.
Son of a.
Yeah, we were so mad, and we asked all these questions to these people. But anyway,
Well, you know what? I don't know that it was known that he was going to call in.
no one knew he was. It
Right.
was just a conference, or it was just a
Right.
session on
Which
the
is
Menendez
why, like, I was
brothers.
like, oh, I want to go. I'm interested in this. But then it was like, oh, I want to really hear John Walsh talk, though. Like, if I had
Yeah.
known I was going to hear Lyle Menendez talk, I would have been like,
Yes.
take notes, Beth.
Yeah, well, yeah, we would have divided and conquered instead of going to the same one, but we went to the same one instead. So
Yeah.
we need to divide and conquer next.
I know, we need to
September when we
check
go.
things.
We can't go to the same one. You and I can't be in the same session.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly. Okay. So, anyways, I will say in 2018, Lyle was moved to Eric's prison in San Diego. So in 2018, the two were finally reunited
Okay.
since 1996. Which I don't know, kind of like is heartwarming in a way because like you're brothers. You haven't seen each other in a long time. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a soft spot lately. Anyway, 2023, they filed a habeas corpus to review new evidence not presented at the original trial.
Okay.
Okay. One thing was Roy Rosello from Menudo. Do you remember Menudo? Menudo, not Menudo. Menudo, the band Menudo. Well, anyways, there's a band Menudo who Jose was the executive producer or whatever of entertainment executive. He claimed in another documentary on Menudo, I think. I don't know. I did not watch this. But he claimed he was raped by Jose. And so they're like, okay, somebody else has come forward proving that possibly we were sexually abused by our father because he is saying that he was raped and he was a young kid at the time, Menudo.
Yeah. Okay.
The second thing was that a letter from Eric, which he wrote to his cousin 8 months before his parents were murdered, discussing the abuse, like basically confiding in this cousin, like, this is what's been going on, blah, 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 blah. Not saying he's going to kill his parents, but just like, this is what's going on and I can't take it anymore and whatever. And so they were like, and this letter wasn't found until like years and years and years later.
I did not know this.
Yes. So that's where it all started in 2023, where they came back and they were like, we'd like a new trial because now we've got proof that we were possibly sexually abused. And we talked about this sexual abuse to a cousin, or at least wrote to them about it way before this even happened.
And there's another person who's claiming it.
Right, exactly. So, then in this past September, October, 2 documentaries came out. One was, well, it wasn't like, it's like I hate when the documentaries are like dramatized. You know, like they've got actors that are playing these people, but they're supposed to be documentary. You know, that's that Monsters
Those aren't documentaries.
But they consider them, or like docu-series, I guess what they call them.
Yeah.
So that one came out, the Monsters one on them in September. And then another documentary came out on them in October, both on Netflix. I've not watched either one of them. I will tell you. Just because I'm just like, I plan on doing it, but I just was like, I'm not going to do it right now.
You have all your information.
I do. Because like, I don't know. Like, I mean, we have stuff that is out in the news and whatever. And there was a whole lot of drama surrounding the Monsters one. And I just thought, I don't need to have that clouding all of the stuff that's in the news. Okay. But because of those documentaries, there was a whole bunch of like younger people that started to sympathize with the brothers.
Yeah.
And there was this like movement of, they've served their sentence, like get them out. They were abused. This was self-defense. And so there was a movement of, let's get the Menendez brothers out. So in October of 2024, the family actually, the whole rest of the family, urged for the courts for resentencing of the brothers.
Okay.
So let's see. Sorry, I have my actual notepad. I don't have it on computer today. Basically, they were like, evidence has shown that there could have been abuse and there was PTSD. If they had had that evidence in a trial, then maybe their sentencing trial would have been different. Like, well, maybe they wouldn't have gotten 2 consecutive life terms without parole had they been able to prove abuse and PTSD at the time. Okay. The DA said that he was going to recommend resentencing the life without parole being removed. So,
Okay.
but that was Gascon. I think that's how you say his name. He was a DA at the time. So then they would be sentenced to murder, which would be 50 years to life. But because they were under 26 at the time of the crime, they would technically be eligible for parole immediately right now if they were to resentence them to just life and taking out without parole.
Right.
However, Gascon, this DA, lost his re-election right after he said that's what he was going to recommend. He lost the re-election. And there's a new DA in town, new sheriff in town. And he's like, well, I need to review the file. Fair. That's fine. But I'm pretty sure Gascon had already made his recommendation.
I don't know why that reminds me of the Beauty and the Beast, but it does.
Because it's Gaston.
Oh.
Yes. Gaston.
Yes, it is.
Except we like Gascon. Yes. Gaston. Maybe not so much. Okay. So now we've got a new DA in town. His name is Hockman.
Oh.
So in February, he actually asked the court to deny the habeas corpus for a new trial because he said that the new evidence that they say they have was not credible and it wouldn't be admissible because it all had to do with the sexual abuse, which was thrown out in that trial. However, if this was a new trial, then it doesn't mean it's thrown out. So he's dismissing the sexual abuse stuff, just like that other judge did back in 95, say. Yeah. So he's like, nope, deny that. He asked the court to deny it. He cannot tell them that they have to. He's just asking the court to deny it. So also, okay, but they have other ways of trying to get out of prison sooner. They could ask the governor for clemency, which they did. And the governor actually said he ordered the parole board to launch a comprehensive risk assessment to make sure there's no unreasonable risk to the public if they were to be released. So before he decides. So he is still doing it. That comprehensive risk assessment is still being performed currently. So there's still the chance that the governor could grant them clemency. Anyway. March, which is this current month.
What state is it in?
It's in, it was in Beverly Hills, so it's in California.
California, okay. Got it.
Yes, this all happened in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
So in March, which is this current month, although tomorrow will not be this month, but the new DA, Hockman, withdrew the previous DA's motion for resentencing so that Gascon put his motion in, but this DA withdrew it. And he said that because the brothers never accepted responsibility for their actions fully, they shouldn't get resentenced. And they said they told a ton of lies that they have only answered a few of them with. I mean, I think it was something like he said 30 lies or 20 lies and you've answered 4 of them. So there's 16 lies that that's what's going around in the media right now. They told 20 lies, we answered 4 of them. So there's 16 lies out there that we don't have answers to, which is just a hokey number. But
Okay.
anyway, so they're like, he's like, they only answered to some of those lies. If they unequivocally fully accept responsibility and admit that the self-defense theory or defense was phony and their parents were not going to kill them, because they also said at some point, our parents were going to kill us, so we killed them first. Then he can determine if they will qualify for rehabilitation and resentencing. So he wants them to deny all of their defense, basically,
Yeah.
in order to be resentenced.
Which if they do that, and then he
Well,
doesn't grant their resentencing, they're screwed.
right, because that's only to see if they would qualify for
Right.
resentencing. Yeah. So anyway, I think they refuse to do that because they're like, no,
Well,
this
I
is
don't
what's happened
disagree
to
with
us.
them.
So we do not want to withdraw all that. We don't want to say that it didn't happen. We don't want to say our defense was phony.
Right.
This is our truth. So anyway, the hearing for that withdrawal, like to withdraw that the previous DA's recommendations, is actually not till April 11th. So it's literally, this is all
Like right now.
yeah, this is all still happening. They're resentencing, like the hearing to see if there's a resentencing is on April 17th and 18th. So still
Okay.
a ton. And the clemency hearings are on June 13th. So that's when they have that amount of time to like determine whether or not they have a risk to the public if they were to be let go. So if the governor were to grant them clemency. Anyway,
What do you think should happen?
I personally think they should be released.
You do? Released right now?
I do. I think they have served their time. I think that there is truth to their claims.
The sexual abuse claims?
Yeah.
We always believe, typically.
Yeah. I mean,
We're like a 99.1 believing people on their sexual abuse claims.
I don't agree in the manner in which they carried out their crime.
100%, yeah.
They murdered their parents. They tried to cover it up, saying they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for however long they were like, we didn't do it, we didn't do it, we didn't do it. Oh, we did it. But now it's because, so like, again,
Yeah.
they didn't do themselves any favors, but they were 18 and 21. They were young. They were scared.
And now they've decided to come out about the truth.
Yes. And they've got other, like, the Menudo. And it's not like I listen to the Menudos. So I have a hard time with that name. But the guy from Menudo, like, came out and said, he raped me. Like, so
Yeah.
it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think at the time it was like, these guys come from wealth, and what would their dad want to do that? Why would their dad want to do that with that?
Right.
There was this. Also, we just didn't believe people back then.
Same. 100%.
And so the fact that
now,
where they
especially
came
males, especially males.
Yes. And so where they came from, and they came from money, and like, why would their dad need to do that? It was like, why are you going to believe these young kids who just brutally murdered their parents? Fair. They deserved time in jail. But
Well, for sure.
I think that things would have been differently had they believed. Well, there was a mistrial the first time when the sexual abuse claims were in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so had they had a little bit more proof to back it up, like somebody else saying this letter, why this letter didn't come out for I don't know how long. I don't know, honestly. And I don't know that anybody knows why. And that's part of like the, well, all of a sudden this letter shows up, but they say it's truth. They told a cousin 8 months before. Like, so anyway, I just feel like if all of this had come out in trial, they would have been convicted because they did. They murdered their parents.
Yeah.
But I don't know that their sentencing would have been life without parole. 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole.
Yeah.
If you are like treating somebody that's 18 now, outcomes like that are different.
Yeah. An abused person at 18.
Yeah,
That's
and
the thing.
they've been in prison since, well, they were arrested in 90. And they had first trial, mistrial, went back to trial. So, I mean, like on and off since 1990. So they're like 35 years in
And
of their
rehabilitated,
sentence.
and they have a family at this point, or a wife, whatever.
Yeah, and they've been model citizens, like
Right.
in the prison system. And
Yeah.
so personally, I would be okay with them.
So maybe we should stop villainizing them.
Yeah. Yeah, because there has to be, I don't know. I feel like there has to be some sort of faith in the rehabilitation process because granted, I know this is like the absolute worst of the worst. You murdered your parents. But like,
Well, let me tell you, you were to, yes, they murdered their parents, but now we there's motive and reason and
right.
um almost and they're victims
Right.
and are
And like you
retaliating,
said back then, like, we're not believing no less with boys. So they're probably like, well,
especially.
nobody's going to believe us. Our dad's an executive and our mom is just okay with it. Like, because they were claiming that she knew
Oh,
and just didn't do anything about it.
ew.
I mean, that's the claim.
Well,
So I don't know. That's my personal opinion. I would be okay with them re-entering. I mean, clearly there's a process to re-enter society. And so as long as,
slow process.
yeah, honestly, like I hope the whole governor clemency is what prevails in this because
Okay.
if he's got these people doing this risk assessment that
Mhm.
he's not even going to judge on, or they're not even going to judge on until June. I mean, that's like a good amount of time that they've
Mhm.
been sitting there studying this, studying them, determining their risks. So
So you think they're ready?
personally, if they
Cool.
find that they are ready, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I don't know anything, clearly. I don't know all the facts
Well,
of
yes,
what they
you're
were
not a
like.
professional, but you're going to trust the professionals, and you're
Yes,
okay
I
with
would
what they
trust
say.
them and I would
Yeah.
be okay with them being released.
Yeah. Cool.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you.
Do you?
I mean, well, I only know what you told me, but yes.
Well, and that's all I know too.
Yeah.
What I just said is all I know. So I do want to go watch those documentaries, but I just didn't want it to cloud my judgment because sometimes
Yeah.
those docu-series also have a little bit of added information that's not
Yes.
real that I don't like to like mix
Yeah.
up with truth.
For sure.
But there is another actual documentary out there too. So anyway.
What's that?
Well, they're both on Netflix. I don't
Okay.
remember what the name of that one was, but one's
Okay.
called Monsters. That's a docu-series that
Yes,
there was
that's the
like
one you
called a
said there.
Hullabaloo.
Yeah.
But then there's a second one that is supposed to be a documentary. I could look it
Okay.
up. But anyway,
Go look it up.
yeah. So
All right, cool.
I don't know.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I think maybe they have done their time based on what you've told me. You have kind of sold me on there.
Okay.
I mean, not their innocence, obviously, but
No,
like
I don't think they're
on
innocent.
their
I'm just saying, yeah.
on their the justice has been served. Like they've done their time
Mm-hmm.
and have learned a lot and seem rehabilitated and lived their life.
Well, and their family is backing it. Like family of
Yes.
the murder victims
Right.
also are like,
Right.
we believe they've done their time.
Yeah.
And I think they believe them
Yeah.
of their allegations too. But
The admittance of guilt, I think, is like the biggest thing.
right, and they're not saying
Like,
they didn't
you
murder
can
them.
you can do a crappy thing
Mm-hmm.
and admit it and move on and heal and rehabilitate yourself, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Some people. Not all.
Yeah. Yes.
Not most
agreed.
people,
Agreed.
actually.
Yeah.
But some people
Mm-hmm.
can do that.
Yeah.
and they can be legitimately sorry and live a life.
Hmm. I think these guys can,
Okay.
personally. Have you
Okay.
seen pictures of them lately, though?
No. This is not one I follow. I'm sorry.
Well, because well, you know what it is that it's constantly on like the Today Show for me. And I'm a
Mm.
Today Show junkie because it's where I
Mm-hmm.
get my tidbits of real
Well, she
news.
tells me all the news from the Today Show. She texts me and is like, "Did you know this from the Today Show and this from the Today Show?" Every day I get all my news also from the Today Show from Christy.
Well, because I get like the tidbits of it, of like actual things that are happening with like a
Yeah.
little, because Emery makes fun of me with like a little bit of fluff because I cannot handle all the craziness without fluff and like
Okay.
happiness. And so I have to watch it in the Today Show format. And half the time I'm half watching it because I'm doing my Wordle at the same time. So like
And drinking your coffee and unloading your dishwasher.
no, I don't unload my dishwasher during that time. I can't pay attention to the time. Not that. Anyways, maybe in my new house I will be able to, but okay, anyways, one of the brothers, and I'm trying
Christy
to
got a new house, by the way.
I did. We bought a new house, and spoiler alert, bought a new house, and we're moving in a couple weeks. I'm trying to
Okay.
look up a picture because one of the brothers looks like a total dork all the time.
One of the
He's
Menendez
always has
brothers.
this, yes, he always has a like dorky smile on his face,
They've been in prison.
but I can never remember which one it is. No, they have been, but anyway, like, can you guys see that dorky smile on his face?
No, go back. No, back. Oh yeah. Which
Oh,
one is? Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Which one is it? Like, I don't remember which one it is. Anyway, but he
Christy.
always has this dorky smile on his face, and anyway, makes me laugh. I'm like, you're so happy in prison. Can't wait to get out of prison. Like, I don't know. Anyways. All right. Well, we can
Solitaire
move
in the
on.
commissary.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, can we take a break?
Yes, we will take a break and then we will be
Play
back with our
break.
second two cases for you.
We're 1 hour and 17 minutes in. That's your hearts.
There you go.
BRB.
Hold on. That didn't work. I tried to pause.
Okay, our next segment is the Idaho murders. Brian Koberger,
Hate that guy.
hate that guy. Okay, so high level in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, four college students from the University of Idaho found brutally murdered in an off-campus house in Moscow, Idaho. 21-year-old Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan,
Gonzalez.
Concalves, actually.
Oh, is it? I've always
Yes.
heard Gonzal. Anyway,
Concalves.
I always hear it so many different ways.
GoncaLV. Concalves.
It's just not how I've heard it on the radio, on the
Oh,
news.
yeah.
So.
Concalves.
Okay.
Madison Mogan, who have been best friends since middle school. And then 20-year-olds Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin, who were a couple. Two of the young ladies, Madison and Xana, lived in the home. One had already graduated, Kaylee, who was visiting her friends for the weekend. And Ethan came for the night to stay with Xana, who was his girlfriend. So we have Madison and Xana live in the home, friends, Kaylee and Ethan that were just staying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all four of them were found stabbed to death in their rooms. There were two other roommates in the home at the time, but both were left unharmed. And those were the ones that discovered the body.
Right.
One of the roommates remembers hearing noises that night. In the early morning hours, she said she thought it was one of her roommates playing with her dog in her bedroom. She stuck her head out the door in the hallway 3 different times.
Oh,
The
jeez.
last, huh?
I said, oh, jeez.
3 different times, yes. The last time, she saw a tall man with dark features and what she describes as bushy eyebrows walk past her quickly and towards the back sliding door. He did not speak to her. He did not even look at her. She found this odd, obviously, went back in her room and locked the door. So it was later said that this was known to be a college party house. There were often friends of roommates that would come in and out, and they didn't all necessarily know each other. Often the door would be left unlocked. A few months before the murders over Labor Day weekend, police were called to the house for a noise complaint. And there was a big party going on, but none of the people in the house actually lived in the house when the police were there. So police came to the house and they were like, there's a noise complaint. And they looked around and they were like, well, no one that lives here is here.
So funny. I mean, I literally, when you said that, I was racking my brain like, was there ever a house in college that we would go to and like people would just enter and be like, we're having a party here, not even caring if anybody that lived there was there. And I don't think that was the case. I think somebody would always be there.
That was the case in this house. And even so it was like unnoticed that people were not unlocking and locking doors.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this person came into the house and was a party goer and no one noticed him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There were no signs of forced entry. A knife sheath was left behind under one of the bodies of the victims. There were massive amounts of blood in the 2 bedrooms that were the crime scenes. At first, there were no suspects, and the town was very terrified that there was like a mass killer on the loose. Almost 2 months later, police arrested 28-year-old Brian Koberger at his parents' home in Pennsylvania, and they charged him with the quadruple murders. Brian was extradited back to Idaho. He has been in custody ever since. His trial is set to begin in August of 2025, so this year. He's facing the death penalty. All of these young people had gone out the night before, come back to the house in the early morning hours, just before 2 a.m., went to their rooms. One of the couples ordered DoorDash, got it from the door shortly before the murders. They were not found until the next morning when the roommates went to check in on them because they hadn't gotten up. They weren't responding to text messages. The 911 call was just recently released, not long ago. I don't know if you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
These young ladies are scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm being honest, the dispatcher was not nice.
Yeah, you said that. You mentioned that.
Yeah, I did not appreciate her tone at all. So all 4 victims' cause of death was multiple stab murders to their torso and upper bodies. It was believed it was the same weapon used for each murder. There was nothing taken or damaged. It was reported that all of the young people, both the victims and survivors, had been drinking and were intoxicated that night. So basically we know that Brian's DNA was found on the buckle of the knife sheath, which was found underneath one of the bodies. They actually matched it to his dad's DNA, and that's how they found him. And then they collected trash from their home and connected him. His DNA was also found under at least one of the victim's fingernails. His cell phone pinged near the home of just before and after the murders, but it was turned off about 2 hours from when they believe the murders took place. So, like, they think the murders took place sometime after 4, and his phone was turned off between, like, 2:45 and 4:25, something like that.
Okay.
His car can also be seen on CCTV footage circling the house and driving around the area before the murders and the days and weeks after the murders took place. He put a new license plate on his car and drove with his dad back to Pennsylvania for the holidays. He was pulled over twice during that drive for driving infractions. And they also saw that he had driven past the house at odd hours at least 12 times in the months before the murders took place.
And there was like no other connection between him and the people.
None.
Right. Like there wouldn't be any reason why his DNA would be underneath fingernails or on this knife sheath that is found in their house.
Yes, no, I'll get to that. It's so freaky. There was some unknown DNA found at the crime scene, one profile under the victim's fingernails, one in a handprint on blood on a handrail, and one on a glove outside the home, which they can't connect to him. So the defense is going to use that as to rule out Brian to the murder and to show that there may be other suspects.
I mean, there's so many people that go in and out of that house, apparently. So, yeah.
Right. Right now, his defense is claiming that he is on the autism spectrum. So he has autism spectrum disorder, which actually I'm not surprised about him. He has a really weird demeanor and like a blank stare, like a glaze almost, and he rocks back and forth. So he's like very socially awkward, I think.
He's different, yeah.
Yeah. But because of that, they're saying he's unable to aid in his own defense. But dude is a criminal justice graduate with a master's degree. Whoa. And he was a teacher's aide at Washington State University. So
yeah, I was going to say, like, he was studying all this, which is what, like, also, like, drew them to him, because he was literally studying, and it was kind of like, did he do this to see if he could prove that he could do this and get away with it, or,
I don't buy it that you're all of a sudden not capable.
Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't be. It's funny, because I mean, I don't follow this religiously or anything, but it's interesting to me that they have found that he is not capable of aiding in his defense. They haven't found that.
They're defending that.
Or they're saying that he's not capable of... Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't buy it. So they also just recently released phone records and text messages, and it showed all of the roommates, like, heard noises and actually called and texted all of the female victims. So, like, there were survivor roommates, remember? So she began texting them between, like, 4:19 or, like, 4:20 and was like, are you okay? What's happening? What's that noise? I mean, she heard things.
Yeah, I saw those on the Today Show.
Yes, and then she's talking about seeing this guy wearing things over his head and mouth, and she's freaked out. And the other roommate is like, come to my room. Like, stop being freaked out. Come to my room. So the most eerie part of this whole case is that Brian, if he is the actual person that did this, has no known connections. None. To the house, to the school, to these kids.
So his DNA should not be there.
Or why is he murdering them?
Well, There's theories about that.
I mean, he lived a state away.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no motive.
Except that maybe he became fascinated with what he was studying and
Over
wanted to
social
like,
media.
yeah,
Yeah. I
prove.
mean, social media is the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they are targeted. I truly believe that.
Mm-hmm.
He
Right.
picked, I think, but we don't know who. That's the thing. So did he pick the people that lived in the house, which was Xana,
Mm-hmm.
Madison, or did he pick Kaylee, who lived somewhere else and came back
Mm-hmm.
because he killed her too?
Right. So like, was it one person and then other people were there and so they got in the way, but then why did they leave? Why did he leave anybody?
Why did he leave anybody?
Yeah.
And walked past them and they were looking at him.
Yeah, that is kind of fascinating actually.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you. I guess I didn't realize until those text messages came out that they were like, "Hey, what's going on? Are you okay? I saw this guy, but XYZ." I
Yeah.
didn't realize that there was so much not interaction, but apparent like, "Oh, I saw the person
Yeah.
and looked at them and they looked at me."
But that
kind
was
of thing.
after the fact. That was after his
Right.
motive, even.
Hmm.
He came for a motive. So he came to kill who? Xana?
Hmm.
Kaylee?
Hmm.
Madison? Who?
Hmm. Yeah.
He
I,
didn't know that Xana's boyfriend would be there.
right.
He
Right.
didn't know that Madison's best friend would be there.
Were all four in like the same room? So like not in the same room, but like two were in one room and two were in another room.
So Madison and Kaylee were in one room. Kaylee was from out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Kaylee came from, she had already graduated, came to visit.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay. Xana lived in the home. Boyfriend Caleb
Mm-hmm.
was staying the night. All four were killed.
Yeah. So it could have been one, like each one, and then they just happened to have this person staying there. Like
Yes.
he could have come to kill the two people that were living there, and they just happened to have
I
people
tend
that
to
were
think it
staying in
was
the room.
Kaylee because Kaylee think she had a stalker.
But she's the one that didn't live there.
No.
She came back to visit.
Right.
Oh,
But
so
she
you think he
said she had
followed
a
her
stalker.
there
Yes.
and happened to kill the person that she was in the same room with?
Yes.
And
And then
why
someone else who hurt her.
Mm. But others heard her too, or heard everything that was going
one
on.
did for sure. He walked past her. It's so weird. I don't know.
Maybe he was just at that point, I got to get out of here.
I don't know. That's what's so weird about it.
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I tend to believe that he did it just because
Well, he
of
definitely
the
did.
DNA. Yeah.
Oh,
So
for sure. He 100%
yeah,
did it.
the circumstances behind it are yet to be revealed. But like, yeah, I mean, he did it.
He did
just
it. His
but
cell phone was there.
it is
His DNA is there. His car was there. He did it.
Mm-hmm.
He killed them. For
Yeah.
sure. It's just
Mm-hmm.
why?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to. I don't. Who knows if we'll ever know?
We're never
Truly.
going to know. He's never going to
Even
be man
even
enough
when
to
he's
just-
convicted, it's not like he's going to be like, I did this because.
Exactly.
Well, it is. I will say, it is possible why they're trying to say he cannot participate in his defense because maybe they are afraid that he will just come out if he's on the autism spectrum disorder or spectrum.
He is.
Like maybe he would just be like bluntly, blah blah blah. Although he hasn't yet, but
I do believe that he is on that spectrum. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what I've seen.
I don't think I've paid enough attention. I mean, I probably wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think I've
I
paid
do,
enough
but you
attention
can't
to it.
murder about it.
No.
You
Mm-mm.
can't murder about it.
Nope. You cannot. You cannot murder about anything. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah, that whole situation is just strange. It is strange.
Yeah, and sad.
It is. It is. 4 innocent lives have been
Yes.
lost because of one person's ridiculous decision and ridiculous reasons as to
Uh-huh.
why he wanted to do this.
And we don't
Because
know them. That's what's so weird.
no. So when is it? I'm sorry. When is he going on trial again?
August
Gosh, that's so long from now.
2025.
Why is it so long?
Well, they had to do a change of venue and all that crap.
Oh, well, shoot. Well, I guess we have another update coming.
Oh my God. Christy, aren't we stopping?
Yeah, we're stopping. I'm just saying. Wouldn't hurt to be like, guess what, guys? In case you didn't see it on the Today Show, he was convicted.
Update you decided to listen to.
I have no ulterior motives.
Uh-huh. Do you have a case?
Mm-mm. Nope, we're done.
No.
Just kidding. We're done because you don't want to talk about this person.
I don't. God, why did you people vote on this?
She was so mad at
So
you.
pissed.
Actually, what did I say? Oh, because I said I have Menendez and Lori Vallow because I misspoke. And she was like, okay. And then I was like, oh no, sorry. Just kidding. I lied. Casey. And she was like, what is wrong with people?
Literally.
I will say I'm not the biggest Casey Anthony fan.
No
I
one
never
is.
have been. I've never been. It's one of the it's John Bonet for me, except John Bonet is like not solved. So, but it's just like that level. Like, oh gosh, we have talked about it and talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. But we're gonna talk about it some more. Okay.
God.
Bird's eye view of it.
We're going to talk about it for the first time ever.
Yes. Yeah.
We've talked about it, you and me.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like when her like the most recent like Peacock like documentary thing came out, I definitely watched it and
And the
mentioned
TikToks.
it. But
Jesus Christ.
well, that's why it's relevant right now. So okay, so we've got Casey, George, Cindy, and Kaylee. Those are all the main players in this. And in August, on August 9th, by the way, that's my anniversary. Did I realize?
Really?
Okay, sorry. That was when Kaylee was born. August 9th on my anniversary. August 9th, 2005 was Kaylee was born, and she died in June 2008. There isn't I don't have a date because I feel like nobody
Yeah.
they don't know. They don't know what day she died. They know what day she disappeared-ish, but anyway, so on July 15th, she is reported missing by Cindy, her grandmother, because she has not seen her in 34 days. Let me ask you, when would your mom report your kids missing?
5 days.
I was going to say, like, again, I'm not passing
My
judgment.
mom, she doesn't live here. So
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, my mom even would probably be like, I haven't heard from Isaiah in a while, and I texted him, and he didn't answer me. You know, like, it would be like 3 days.
Yes.
She doesn't text him every day.
I was gonna say 2 to 5 days.
Right. She doesn't text him every day, but when she does, she knows he answers. And so if he doesn't, she's kind of like, she might give him a like couple extra days, like, oh, he was busy that day, but he would always answer. So I feel like 34 days seems like
34.
34 days.
But this is
Anyway.
a little baby who doesn't have a phone.
Yeah, she's 3.
Yeah.
Not even. She didn't even turn 3. Barely.
Oh my God.
Okay, so Cindy reported her missing after not seeing her for 34 days. Casey had given her like many different reasons, you know, like she would call her and she'd be like, oh, she's busy. She's, you know, here's all the reasons, XYZ, why you haven't seen her. She's on a play date. She's with the nanny. She's here.
Is that true? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I did not
Yes.
even know that she did that.
Yes. So, and then everybody knows her first thing was that she was kidnapped by the nanny on June
Yes.
9th.
That's the first thing I knew.
Zanny the nanny.
Nanny.
And there was this whole big theory that it was Zanny the nanny was Xanax, that she gave Kaylee Xanax so she could go out and party because she, again, wasn't somebody else that did not do herself any favors. She was out there, she was partying while her daughter was missing. But again, she was young and stupid. Like, I'm not trying to make excuses ever for her. But anyway, so people would say that Zanny was Xanax, that she gave Kaylee so she could go out and party. And Kaylee would like sleep through it all. But anyway, she did tell her mom, like at one point, hey, we're all going off to a work trip to Tampa for a few days, blah, blah, blah. Her, the nanny, and Kaylee. But that wasn't true. 30 days after she was reported missing, Casey's car was abandoned in Orlando, and it was just found on the side of the road. Oh, also, by the way, they went to the nanny's apartment, and they had found that it had been basically abandoned for like 140 days before that. So, like, I don't think there was any communication with that nanny recently in any recent time. So she was even making up the whole nanny thing. Well, which we all know. She made up the whole nanny thing. But anyways, when her car was found, there was this, her dad got custody. Custody? Do you get custody of a car? Took possession of the car. And he said that there was a foul smell coming from it. And he said that it was decomposition. But it ended up just being trash in the trunk. That there wasn't any body decomposing in there. Then her second lie that she told was that she had worked at Hollywood Studios. Do you remember this one?
Yep.
Yeah. She's like, I worked at Hollywood Studios and all the things. And the police were like, take us to your office. So they went to Hollywood Studios. She led them around the facilities all over the place before she finally admitted, oh, I haven't worked there in 3 years. Why? Why do you need to lie about something like that? Like, that's just ridiculous. You haven't worked there in 3 years. Why would you say you worked there? I mean, I could see like, oh, I got fired last week. Let me say I worked at Hollywood Studios. 3 years. Well, but that makes more sense than 3 years. So anyways, in July, Casey is arrested. December 11th, 2008, Kaylee's remains were found in a wooded area near the home, like her parents' home. Someone, which I don't think I knew this part, there was a guy that had called the police 3 times over, like, I don't know what the time frame was, but was like, there's the suspicious remains or things that I'm finding in this same wooded area. And nobody came out. Like, nobody believed him. Like, they would just ignore him or whatever or not come out.
Wait, what?
And that's this guy who lived in the area called the police 3 other times before they found Kaylee, saying, there's these suspicious things that I keep seeing in this wooded area.
What?
Can you please come out? I don't know what it was that he was like reporting, but he knew she was missing.
And it was the same area that they found that
That's where she was found.
What?
And they never came out to like look. But anyways, when they do go out there and find her and look, they identify her body, the bones, as Kaylee's bones. So she could have been found much sooner than she was. Her cause of death was undetermined. Casey was indicted of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter, and 4 counts of providing false information for all the lies that she was saying, like the nanny, the working wherever, blah, blah, blah.
Why did she lie about that?
Well, that was the thing. Like, you had no reason to lie.
Thing.
Yes, it is the thing. She does address it in the most recent documentary, which didn't you watch? Or did you not watch it?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay. I watched it. So we'll get there.
Okay.
April 2009, they determined that they're going to seek the death penalty. The trial occurs in May of 2011. By the way, they moved it because this all happened in Orlando, Florida. They moved it to Pinellas County, Florida. Does anybody know anything about Pinellas County, Florida? I lived there, and the trial was when I was living there because we
What?
moved. Yeah. The trial was in May of 2011. We didn't move until July of 2011.
Did
Oh,
you know about it?
yes. We knew it was happening when I
Did?
was there. Yes. I mean,
Oh,
this was huge and clearly huge in Florida, but yes, so we followed it and we knew it was like literally like down the street from where we lived.
fun.
Okay, so the prosecution said that she used chloroform to subdue her and that she duct taped her mouth and that's what like suffocated her. And then she just left the body in the trunk for a while and drove around with it. That's what they said before she got rid of it, which is what a lot of people believe because they've also heard all of the like, oh, when the car was found, it stunk. The dad said it smelled of decomposition, but all they found in there was trash.
Okay.
Then the defense said that Kaylee accidentally drowned in the pool and that George, her dad, helped cover up the accidental drowning to like protect Casey, his daughter. Like, didn't want her to get convicted of child neglect, child abuse, or whatever because her daughter accidentally drowned in the pool. So, Casey alleges that her father and her brother sexually abused her. And she did this from the beginning. So this is known. So in the original trial, she said that her dad sexually abused her. She said her brother did too, although not to the extent that her dad did. So whatever that means in that case. During the trial, it is stated that chloroform was searched 84 times on the family computer. However, later, the person who, like, you know, the expert that came in and testified against that or to that said that there was a glitch in his system when he determined that, and it was actually only searched one time. It's a pretty big glitch. One time versus 84 times.
Well, this in the Karen Reed thing.
Yes. No, I agree. Like glitches happen, but I'm like, well, that's like a determining factor, like convict somebody or not. Like, oh, you searched chloroform. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Cadaver dogs, they said cadaver dogs hit on Casey's car and in the backyard. There was chloroform in Casey's car. And the prosecution has a witness, or not a witness, but an expert that says that even the smallest amount of chloroform could cause death in a child as little as Kaylee. So, anyway, there were no fingerprints on the tape that was on her mouth. Okay, so the defense.
No fingerprints. Interesting.
No fingerprints. Yeah. The defense states that it was Cindy, and I believe she testified to this. Cindy was the person who searched for chloroform on the computer. However, she was meaning to search chlorophyll because of gardening, but she spelled it wrong. Which, I mean, that could happen. I wouldn't
At
necessarily.
that exact time?
Well, yes. It makes more sense to if it was only searched one time and she spelled it wrong the first time, as opposed to chloroform 84 times. I mean, somebody could make an error one time and write chloroform instead of chlorophyll.
But during the time of the
Well, I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying. Anyway, on July 5th, 2011, she's found not guilty for counts 1 through 4. So first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter. But 4 through 7, she's found guilty. So basically the 4 counts of her providing false testimony and or information and like hindering the investigation. So she is sentenced to 1 year and $1,000 for each one. She's released 10 days after that conviction because of credit of time served that she had already been in prison for. Okay, so the documentary that comes out, Where the Truth Lies, Casey comes on there and she basically pins the death on George. So she says that she was
George is her dad.
Her dad. She was sexually abused by her dad. She believes that George was sexually abusing Kaylee. Kind of says that Kaylee accidentally drowned in the pool. So what she said was that day that it happened, she wasn't feeling well. She got into bed to lay down and Kaylee was next to her and they fell asleep. And when she woke up, or she woke up to her dad saying, like, hey, where's Kaylee? And she was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, we laid down together, we were sleeping, whatever. And then all of a sudden she went outside and she found her in the pool, was holding her. And she said she was holding her. Her dad took her from her and she never saw her again. And her dad just said, don't worry, it'll be okay. I'll take care of this. So clearly this is what Casey's claiming. George and Cindy are not commenting on it or denying it. They kind of stay out of the public eye. He was in an accident somewhat recently and was trying to like make amends with her, but she wants nothing to do with that because she's sticking to her truth of, you abused me, I believe you were abusing Kaylee. So basically her story is that Kaylee accidentally drowned in the pool. Her dad took her and got rid of the body because he also didn't want anybody to find out that he was abusing Kaylee, and he figured if they found her body, they would find evidence of that. So that's Casey's story, essentially. So anyway, whether you believe that or not, I don't know. She then said she just kind of followed along with whatever her dad said because she was young and he was, so hence all the little craziness of she was partying, this and that. Like, she just believed her dad was taking care of Kaylee and that it was, so she says. Clearly she has some responsibility in all of this, but I don't know what to believe. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way it went, but
Really?
I wouldn't be shocked. She was acquitted. Number one. Okay. So anyway, she's in the news right now. She's relevant right now because she's in the news because she just came out on TikTok on whatever, March 12th or whatever it was. March 12th, 2025, reintroducing herself and her new career. And she is a legal advocate and researcher. And she's been in the legal field since 2011 because she did say that in this documentary. I think she like went and lived with her lawyer that defended her for a long time because she's been in hiding. Like, she won't tell you where she's living. Yeah. And she's been doing like research for him. And so anyway, she's now working for some lawyer and she does legal advocacy and research for them. And she wants to use the platform. She went on TikTok and said this, and she was going to use some other platform to help provide information for people to access based on her experience and her expertise. And so everyone's up in arms because Casey Anthony is now in the legal field. She's not a lawyer. She's not like, she's just helping out lawyers and researching and providing advice. But everyone's up in arms because she's doing this. So that's why she is relevant right now. My personal opinion on this is whether you believe she did it or not, which I believed at the time she did. I was all in on that. I was like, oh my gosh, she killed her daughter and she got away with it and blah, 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 blah. Now I'm 14 years out. She was acquitted. Like, didn't do this. And she has to make a living. So whether we agree with whether or not she should be in that realm is irrelevant. She was acquitted. She is free to move on with her life. And how is she supposed to provide for herself if she can't make a living?
Yeah. So
So,
you are all in on.
no, I'm not all in. I won't
Whoa,
go
whoa,
to
whoa.
her for
No, no,
legal
no, no.
advice.
No, not all in on her. All in on the system that acquitted her.
Well, it doesn't matter if I am or not. They did. And that is
Well,
just the
that's what I'm
fact, and they
saying.
can't. Yeah, that's how it happened. There's nothing they can do about it. They can't try her again.
No.
So she's moved on with her life. She's not like had 7 other babies and killed them all. Like
She's doing well.
She's doing well. She has moved on. She is doing something with her life, doing apparently doing good. And so who are we to say she can't do that?
Yes.
Because legally she can.
She can.
And she has to provide for herself. Like how I don't know. I mean, Kaylee and Casey, I don't know. I don't know. I'm torn on the whole situation. If she did it, do I believe she should suffer consequences? Yes. However, the legal system, we went through the legal system and she was acquitted. And so now everyone's mad because she's working. And I'm like, well, what else is she supposed to do?
Right.
I don't know. I know that there's people that are going to have way different parents, and people are pissed about it.
Yes.
I'm not happy, but I could care less what she's doing personally. I don't care. I saw it come out and I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to be like, what the hell? She should not be in this world. Like, I don't know. This is my opinion.
What's y'all's opinion?
Well, I'm sure they're going to tell us. Yeah. So, anyway, there it is, guys. Casey Anthony. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Beth's opinion is. Do you believe that she killed Kaylee? Because I'm sure that's part of what people want to hear from us. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I actually don't think that she killed her.
I was 100% all in when it was going on. Yes.
I don't think that she did.
Now I don't
But
know.
I think she knows what happened.
Oh yeah, well she's saying she says that. She
Right.
says, well, not knows what happened. She says she accidentally drowned in the pool and my dad took care of it. So like
I don't believe that.
Yeah, you think she knows more. I think she knows more too.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
I do too. I think she knows more, but she's like, I can't prove any of it, so she can't prove anything that she's saying right now. But I do think she knows more.
Yes.
Than she's saying.
Yes. And it's
But again, she was acquitted, so she doesn't have to answer.
For sure.
Right now.
So move on. But maybe don't pick a public platform.
Well, she waited how long to do it, and now she's just like, well, this is the realm I'm in, and I want to help people. So if she actually is helping people, then...
Is she?
I don't know. I looked at her TikTok. All she did was introduce herself, and then she like said what I don't know what the platform is. I can't remember what it's called, but she's not using. I mean, she'll probably use TikTok and other stuff, but she was basically going on to say, "I will be on this specific platform to offer you help and guidance for legal blah 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 blah." That was what her TikTok was, and everybody went crazy over it. I'm just like, well, she's got to make a living. I mean, I guess she could just work at McDonald's, but if this is what she's poured her life into, and if she's knowledgeable, I don't know. I'm not going to go to her, but maybe someone will be helped by her. I don't know.
So we have to say goodbye.
Yes, we do. Beth was ready to end that talk about Casey.
I don't want to talk about her. But I want to talk about y'all.
Mm-hmm.
The best listeners of life.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have supported us through 5 years, spilling out our guts, not knowing what we're doing.
Knowing what we're doing. Yeah, we still don't know what we're doing.
Same. And you have loved us. We cannot love you more. You are amazing. Thank you so much.
I agree. I agree. We have had, for sure, well, hands down, the best listeners out there. I don't care. I don't know who's
100%.
listening to what, but whatever. Hands down, you all are the best listeners in the world for us. And we have our people that are always all in, and they love us and constantly write in and talk to us. And one super fan who lied to her husband and said she was meeting up with old friends in a bar in Nashville, and there we were. He's like, "Wait, you're her favorite podcaster?"
We had a great time.
And he had a great time. He loved us. Totally loved us. Who wouldn't? But anyway, I don't know. You guys have just always rallied around us no matter what. And you wrote in. We didn't have to come up with a case like a couple months into our podcast. Literally. At first it was like, oh man, we have to figure this out. And it's like, no, we had so many, we still have suggestions we didn't even get to, which maybe that'll be what we do randomly. Oh, let me dive into that one. Beth, do you want to record? Because I was looking at this one recently. I don't know. I'm not making any promises, but maybe we'll get to those one day. But we have a list still. They'll stay in my notes in my phone forever, I think, because I'll be like, this is what we had. We had this. We had that. We had that support. And it's kind of interesting that today I had a friend, currently have a friend who is fighting cancer, and she sent us a video. It's a whole group in our neighborhood of ladies that chat, and she sent us a video and then said, I put something in your mailbox. And of course I was out all day. I had no idea. And I was watching this video on the way home, and I was just dying. It's a religious video, but it was this I'm assuming she's a preacher. Jan Hatmaker? I know her. She is a preacher, isn't she? Anyway, it doesn't matter. She was talking about how she was going through a hard time in her life, and she had a group of women who surrounded her, and they're like elephants. When there's an elephant going through something like the birth of another elephant, the other elephants surround and they make noise and they kick up dust to keep predators away from that person who's going through whatever it is. So whether it's the birth of a child or a disease they're fighting, they are keeping the predators away so that they won't attack them in their weakest moment. And I was moved, one, because she was describing our ladies in our neighborhood and thanking us for surrounding her, but also thinking it was happened today. And I was like, man, that is what we had. And I know that there's men out there that listen to us, but I feel like we have had a group of you that have just surrounded us, mainly women. I will say that was our demographic. And you latched on and you stuck with us. And when you're not supposed to be in the middle anymore, you go out to the outside, and we're not in the middle anymore. So that's okay. And I hope that one day that my friend is not in the middle and we don't have to surround her anymore because she is healed. But anyway, it was today that this happened, and I was like, wow, this is kind of relevant in a couple of different ways. So anyway, so I appreciate all of you for coming around us and supporting us for the last 5 years. 5 years. It's a long time. I didn't think it was going to last more than 6 months. I thought we'd get tired of it. So anyway, there's that. So thank you. We love you. We really do. Is this it? Are we signing off for the last time? I wish we had somebody else to sign off for us.
I know.
Somebody call in. Callers. Oh, we're not live.
I love you, babe.
I love you too. Thank you for going on this journey with me and not even hesitating to do it. I appreciate you.
I will never hesitate on going a journey on with you.
Same. Same. So, and we wouldn't hesitate backing any of you. So, let us know if you need something.
Love you guys
We love you.
so much. And always remember, the world is scary.
The world is scary. People suck.
Hide in your closets.
Hide in your closets. Bye. Love you.